Mermay again, y'all. Now, I never really done Mermay that much at all. I think the only time I really did was last year when I made the Sailor Moon one. But besides that, I don't ever really draw mermaids at all. Not really my thing. But anyway, last month I looked at the prompts for this year's Mermay so I could get like a little heads up for the ideas that I had. And some of the prompts I really wanted to do, such as the axolotl. I think I was about to say analoxo, but there's no N in that at all. But axolotl, tsunami, and guard. But as soon as I saw day 7, bruh, I knew it was over. Miyazaki, hands down, that one trumped them all. How could I not do it? How could anyone not do it? So I started off with thinking of every Studio Ghibli movie that I've watched, and when I really think of it, it's not that many. I've only seen 5 of them. Okay, short story time of my first Studio Ghibli movie. So back in the day, I'm talking at least a decade ago. I'm not even joking. When I was like, what, 10 or something, my dad took me and my sister, who was around the same age, to MovieStop, which for those of you who don't know, think of it as if GameStop had a twin sister who looked exactly alike, except for she sold movies instead of video games. In fact, that was, I think, the only reason why we went there, because every time my family would pass by it on our way to some other place, my sister and I would always exclaim, "It's GameStop! I want to go to GameStop!" And one of our older sisters would always tell us in like an annoyed voice, "That's not GameStop." Of course, we didn't believe her and had to find out for ourselves, so after asking over and over again, our dad finally took us to MovieStop. To be quite honest, I don't know about my sister, but I was a bit underwhelmed and disappointed. Where were all the video games? My older sister literally told us when we got back home, "I told you so." As I wandered around the store about to leave, I decided to give it a chance and browse a bit more deeply, and I came across a DVD with a boy and a girl on it. I picked it up and walked over to my dad to ask him what it was, and he replied saying he didn't know either. Well, I'm taking it. My sister and I stared in awe at the mysterious movie cover, which we excitedly took back home. We snuggled up on our bed with a blanket wrapped around us and inserted the DVD into our cheap HP laptop. Back when laptops could still play DVDs. Good times, good times. To this day, Castle in the Sky is one of our most favorite movies of all time. And when I think of nostalgia, that is one of the very definitions of it to me. We watched that movie more times than we've ever watched any other movie, at least in my entire life. Till this day, like more than any Marvel movie or some other new movie on Netflix or whatever it may be. Even more than my precious Pocahontas and Mulan, both combined probably. In fact, I may just have to rewatch it again. It's been a while. But oh my goodness, it always makes me so sad when I think of it. So I watch it because the ending was so sad to me. It was a happy ending, but it's the fact that it's over and just seeing them fly away into the distance gets me every single time. Honestly, that's how every Studio Ghibli movie is. It amazes me how Miyazaki can make you feel as if you actually knew those characters yourself, that they're your friends. But a heart-sickening grief engulfs you as the movie ends, knowing that you'll never see him again. No sequels, no nothing. I think I cried a bit when I saw Ariete. The fact that Sean never saw her again is heartbreaking. So anyway, that was the story of my first Ghibli movie. Now about this drawing. So Ponyo was another one of the first Studio Ghibli movies that I watched, and I loved it. She's just so cute! The noodle and honey tea scene is my favorite scene in that entire movie. So coming up with the idea for this piece was that I chose Ponyo because I didn't want to feel sad drawing something from Castle in the Sky. And because Ponyo is bright and colorful. Plus, she's already a part of the sea, so no brainer. But the problem was, what type of tail do I give her? I didn't want to just do a plain generic mermaid tail. That would be boring. So I took what I learned from one of my favorite artists, Drawing with Waffles, and I just drew her as she is, like, to get, even though I know how she looks like, it's still like putting it on paper and seeing, okay, this is a blueberry, this is how blueberry looks, so you take what you see. Essentially, that's what it was. So I just drew her like the one when she had the little chicken feet. That's so cute. I love that scene. And that led me to think of the different creatures and sea life that were in the movie, and I thought, jellyfish. Then that's when it hit me. She can have a jellyfish tail, and that's how it started. It's literally so perfect. I mean, come on. You see people making orca mermaids or fruit ones, but this is what Ponyo is. Also, you know how she was on top of that one jellyfish? I really wanted to include it here somehow, so I made her have it as a sun hat. You know, the beach. You're at the beach, you're looking at the ocean with a sun hat, except for you're in the ocean with a jellyfish on top of your head, protecting you from the UV lights that's piercing through the water. I don't think it can go that far deep down, but anyway. I also wanted her to have her little green bucket, but I didn't want it to be empty, and I also didn't want to add splashing water because, like, well, she's already underwater. I didn't want her to have the same stupid logic as SpongeBob, where they're literally on the beach and drowning. To honor my favorite scene with the noodles, I put them inside her bucket. That low-key also doesn't make sense, but we're swimming with it. We're swimming with it. I'm also really glad that I used like different brushes, or at least I tried to do different brushes that had like a unique texture to it, like an actual paintbrush, because if you look at any of Studio Ghibli like art books, it's always like watercolor, or it had some type of brush strokes, and the backgrounds are the most beautiful backgrounds I have ever seen. And I wanted to try to recreate that like playful, like Ponyo was basically, the way I describe Ponyo is kind of like, not just because she was a child in and of herself, but because that whole movie was just playful. I described Ponyo as a child with some coloring pencils or coloring crayons or paint and just having fun on canvas and splashing around colors. That's how I describe Ponyo, and so I wanted to recreate that by using different texture brushes. As you can see in some of it, I use like the pencil brush, and then I use the paint one. I just like seeing that extra bit of texture in the drawing.